I think early on we saw unprecedented optimism. People were thrilled, excited. They really felt that this was a new democratic moment for them. So first Tunisia, then Egypt, really a sense of building momentum in the direction of greater freedoms and democracy. But ever since the Egyptian revolution, February 11th, when Mubarak stepped down, I think we've started to see a shift in a different direction where things aren't as positive, and people are starting to realize that revolutions don't happen overnight, that this is going to be part of a long process. In Egypt and Tunisia, we see ups and downs, but in the other countries, we see what I guess could be best described as counter-revolutions, where autocratic forces are emboldened and more confident and are pushing back and are saying we're not going to let go of power, and we're going to stick to the very end. And we also see more use of force against protesters. And what we saw, for example, in Yemen last week, where in one day, 52 peaceful protesters were effectively massacred by snipers on rooftops shooting down. So we're seeing more and more violence, and regimes, in some sense, have learned a particular lesson from Egypt and Tunisia, that don't resign. Don't step down too quickly. Don't concede too much to your opponents, because that signals weakness. If Saleh falls in Yemen, that's going to give protest movements throughout the region more momentum, because there hasn't really been a revolution since Egypt, February 11th, and things haven't been going very well since then. So I think Yemen would add another push and give people more confidence that they too can have their own revolutions. And again, each Arab country is watching the other Arab countries. They're looking for inspiration. What we're really seeing here is pan-Arab solidarity. People really feel like they're all part of the same struggle, that their situations are rather similar. They're fighting for freedom, democracy, and perhaps even more importantly, dignity. That they want to feel that they have a stake in their own societies, that they have ownership. That's what this is about. Different groups inspiring each other, and we're seeing really a regional movement. We can criticize the Obama administration all we want for how they've reacted to these protest movements. But I think the bigger issue here is that American policy has been oriented around supporting repressive regimes for more than 5 decades. And how do you go from 50 years of doing that to all of a sudden changing your policy overnight? Even in the best of circumstances, that's very difficult to do. You can't undo 5 decades of policy right away. In U.S. policy, it's a back and forth, push-pull, and right now they're clashing in some places. So for example, in Bahrain is really important to American national security interests. We have the naval base there. It's on the front line with Iran. It's right next to Saudi Arabia. We got oil in the region. So a lot of interests come together in Bahrain. But then when the Bahraini regime starts using force against its own people and brings in Saudi troops to intervene, the U.S. has to make a very difficult decision. We got interests, we got ideals. And how do you square that circle? So that's really the challenge that they're facing right now.